Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing about chapter 3, lesson 2, which is about relations and functions. Now, in the previous video, we did discuss how to interpret graphs according to the situations, how the graphs change, and also what's the difference between a discrete graph and a line graph. If you have not watched that, click the link above. You will find that video. As all of these will be related to each other. So in this lesson, we will have to see what are relations and functions. So each of these relations or functions of numbers, we call them as these ordered pair, they all are considered to be of relations and functions. Now, each of these relations of numbers can be interpreted in 4 ways, can be represented in 4 ways. One is by using ordered pair, just like this one here. This is called an ordered pair because we have the values of x and y. These numbers can also be represented by a table in this way. We will write the values of x in this column and the values of y in this column. Similarly, we can also interpret the relations of numbers in a graph, or this is called a mapping diagram, which is similar to a table, but then we will have to join the functions with the values of x and the value of y. So to get started, let's see. Now they have given you the ordered pair here, -5, 3, -2, 1, 1, -1, and 4, and -3. Now all what you need to keep in mind is always the value of x will be given first, then the value of y. In every ordered pair, it is like that. So even in the table, we will have a column for x and we will have a column for y. So in the value of the x column, we write all the value for x. So to start with, the first one is -5. So when x is -5, the value of y is 3. And similarly, in the next pair, we have when the value of x is -2, the value of y is 1. And then the value of x is 1, the value of y is -1. And in the last ordered pair, we have the value of 4 as x and -3 is the value of y. So this is how you complete a table. It was easy, isn't it? So from the ordered pair, we have completed the table. Now let's see how we can represent these or relations in a graph. So this is a coordinate plane where we have the x-axis and the y-axis. So to start with, let me start with 1. So you have to number your graph 1, 2. It's better we use another color rather than using the same so that you can differentiate it. So this is going to be 1, 2. Now, if you want to name each and every line, you can name it like that, but in order to not to make it a messy one, I am just leaving one after the other and then I will name it, but then the values remain the same. So this is for 1, this goes for 2, this is for 3, and this is for 4. Now, what are the maximum values of x and y we should have? The least value of x is -5, which means in the graph we should have the value of x as -5. So only then we can graph it. So here it comes -2, and this is going to be -4. So -5 can be marked here after -4, and the maximum value of the positive number which x should have is 4. Similarly for y, the least number, that's the negative number, should be -3 and the positive number should be 3. So positive number we can name as 4 here, and then this stays as -2 and -4. Right, now to start graphing, you have to again look at the ordered pair. So when x is -5, y is 3. So here, when x is -5, y is going to be 3. This is going to be a first point, the first ordered pair. Then for the next one, it's -2 and 1, -2 and 1. It's here. And 1 and -1. So when x is 1, y is -1 is here. And then 4 and -3. So once you have the numbers, it's easy for you to show the relations of these numbers also in a graph. Now the last one we have is a mapping diagram. What is this mapping diagram? It is nothing, just that we are going to write the values of x and the values of y in the similar manner so that we can draw the mapping diagram. So this column is going to be for value of x here. this one, this square is going to be for x and this is going to be for y. So for starting with, we start with the least one, that's -5. So -5, and then we have -2, 1 and 4. Similarly, on the other side, we have the -5, 3, 1, and -1 and -3. Now it's not that important that you need to write in the same order. You can even switch them, like you can write them from greatest to least, because all what we are going to do is we are going to join them according to the ordered pair. So -5 and 3, you will just join it like that. And then negative, it should be a straight one. Now I'll try to, yeah, it should be like that. So in the same way, we are going to do all the remaining the same. So just match them according to the ordered pair. So this is -2 and 1. And then again we have 1 and -1. These are the two ordered pairs we got. Try to write it beside each other so that your arrows will be neat, unlike mine. Okay. So 4 with -3. So this is how a mapping diagram looks like. Just we have to write the values of x in one square and value of y in the other, and then just match them according to the coordinates given. That's all. So now that we know how to graph, let's see how to do the remaining ordered pair in a table. So here the value of x is 4, 0, 4, 1, 4, 2. So when you're writing in a table, of course, it's necessary that in every pair you need to write 4, 4. So 4, it's all 4 everywhere. So I'm writing all 4s because you can see the values of x is all 4. Then if it's 4, 0, next is 4, 1. Next is 4 and 2. Then next is 4 and 3, 4, 4, and 4, 5. Okay. Now we have to graph it. So here if you see, they have only given you one part of the graph. That's they have given you only one quadrant. You might know why, because you don't need to be graphing more in this graph. So let's see, we will start with 1. This becomes 2, 3, and 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the remaining becomes 5. So to start graphing, it's 4, 0. So let's see, where is 4, 0? This is 4 and 0, because the value of x is 4, the value of y is 0. Similarly, 4, 1 is going to be this. Then 4, 2, so it's going to be a vertical line for 4 and for 5. So this is how the graph for this particular ordered pair, relationship is going to be like. It's going to be a vertical line because all the values of x are the same. For all the ordered pair, the value of x is the same. Now to draw the mapping diagram, because we have all 4s, so in the x value box, writing 1 4 would be sufficient because you don't need to keep repeating. So here, but for the value of y, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because we have 6 different numbers for y. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, how are you going to match it? Simply from 4, join to 0. In the same way, you will keep joining because you don't need to keep repeating. So it goes like that. 4, 4, 4, 0, 4, 1, then 4, 2. So here the only important thing is you don't need to keep repeating the number. Rather, you can just write 1 because the value of x is 1. So this way it goes. So even if they have given you a mapping diagram, you could simply see the first ordered pair is going to be 4, 0, 4, 1. It's because the value of x is the same. So only keep in mind, do not repeat the number when you are drawing for the value of. If a number is repeated, you don't need to keep writing the same number again and again. Right. So for the next question, here they have given us, give the domain and range of each relation. So again, what is domain? Domain means the value of x and range means the value of y. Simply that's what they mean. So remember, domain means the value of x and range means the value of y. So you have to give the value of x and y for each relation. Tell whether the relation is a function. Now, how do you know it's a function or not? If the value of x is repeated, it is not a function. Just remember this. If the value of x is repeated or the value of the domain is repeated, it will not be a function. That's all. If you remember this, it becomes easy to identify whether it is a function or not. Let's see here. So first let's write the domain. What are the values of the domain we have? That means the value of x. So here are all the values of x. So we just need to write them, but then put them inside the curly parentheses or the curly brackets. So this becomes -3, -2, -1, and 0. So these are the values of the domain. Now for the values of the range, these are all the values of range. So again, inside the curly brackets, put that 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right. Now that we have all the values of domain and range, we have all the values of x and y, we need to see whether this is a function or not, because they said see whether it's a function. Now what did I just explain? I said if the value of x is repeated, which means the value of x is paired with another number 2 times, so that means it's not a function. Let's see. Is the value of x repeated anywhere? -3 has 12. -2 has 13 as well as -2 has 15, which means the value for -2 is repeated. So if you would write that in an ordered pair, that would mean -2, 13 and -2, 15, which means the value of x is repeated. So which means, is this a function? No, it is not a function. Why is that? Because they said explain. So how are you going to explain? You just have to say that value of -2, so let me write the explanation. Now you can explain it in your own words, but it's totally up to you. But the idea should be the same. So -2 is paired with both 13 and 15. So this is the way I've explained. It's totally up to you how you explain, but the idea should be the same, which means -2 has two values. -2 has 13 as well as 15, so it is not a function. Right, let's look at the graph here. So what are the values of the domain we have? Our graph starts from this point here. So whenever you have a graph, your domain and the range should be in an inequality form. Always remember, when the relation is given in a graph, your domain and the range value should always be in an inequality form. So the domain and the range should be in inequality form. So how do we write this in an inequality form? Let's see. Start from the point where the line starts, the graph starts, and draw a point where the graph ends. Write down the two coordinates for this point. So what are the two ordered pair for this point? This is going to be 0, 1, because x is 0, y is 1. Here, it's going to be 3. The value of x is 3, and the value of y is 4. So it's a 3, 4, right? So for writing domain, you know domain means the value of x. So take the values of the domain. That's 0 and 3. So you're going to write it in an inequality form like this. 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. So using the two values of the x, that's the two values of the domain, we write the inequality like this. 0 is less than or equal to x, because they are the two values. We have 0 and 3. So 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. Similarly, for the value of range, that's the value of y, we take the y values. So we have 1 and 4, which means start with 1 is less than or equal to y, not x, it's y, less than or equal to 4. So So this is how you write the domain and the range when a graph is given. You must write it in an inequality form. How do we know now this is a function or not? Look at the values of x. Is x repeated anywhere? Here it is 0, 1. Here it is 1, 2. Here it's 2, 3. Here it's 3, 4. So the value of x is not repeated. So yes, it is a function. And also, if it is a function, the line will always be a straight line. It will not be a curved one. It will not be a circle. So always, if the function, the line is straight, the graph line is straight, that means it is always a function. Now, how are you going to explain? You just have to say each domain, or you could say each value of x, or each value of domain, totally up to you. Each value of x is paired with one value. That's all. You can, as I always say, you can give your own explanation, but it needs to have the same idea. Okay, so here is a table, so we need to write the domain. So to write the domain, you have to write all the values of x. So it's better write from least to greatest. So to start from least to greatest, we have 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So the value of range is the value of y. So again here, we have 8, 6, 4, 6, 8. So the value of 8 and 6 is repeated 2 times. So you don't need to keep repeating, you just have to write it once. So here we will say 4, 6, and 8. That's enough because you don't need to keep repeating the values when you're writing the domain and the range. So if the values are repeated in the table or in the mapping diagram, you just need to write the domain or the range as just one single value. That's all. Now, is this a function? To know whether it's a function or not, we need to look at the value of x. Is the value of x repeated anywhere? It is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8? No. So that means it is a function. So again, the explanation remains the same. Each value of x is paired with just one value of y. It doesn't matter if the y value is repeated, still it remains a function. We are only concerned about the value of x. If the value of x is repeated, then it is not a function. So here you can write the same explanation, or if you want, you can simply change the wordings. So instead of saying each domain value, instead of saying value of x, so you could say each domain value is paired with one range value. Range means the value of y. So that's all was the lesson. Do check your answers and let me know whether you got all the answers are right or not. It's a very easy lesson. So till we meet again, keep practicing.